Hey there, I'm Mark from Spectrum Pulse, and today we have from Yugen Blakrok, The Illusion of Being. There's a part of me still a little bit shocked it's taken so long to get a new Yugen Blakrok album. After her slight burst of popularity between her feature on the Black Panther soundtrack and the rather quite excellent 2019 album Anima Mysterium, I was hoping she could capitalize on some of that momentum. But then I remembered it was 6 years between her debut and Anima Mysterium, so another 6 years plus all the instability in the world, it makes plenty of sense for this South African rapper to really take her time with her return. And thus with this album, well, it's hard to avoid the feeling that she's playing in a very similar template to what she had all those years ago, impeccably balancing the smoky guitars and the eerie synths against the gentle boom-bap percussion texture, albeit with a little bit more edge in the twang and distortion. It feels a bit more immediate for this meditative gaze into the abyss, soaked in science fiction and fantastical reference points, where there's less narrative or thematic punch, more just to be enamored with the empowered wordplay and the very guarded framing of these stories. Underground rap that's best built for brooding and consolidating one's energy and power as you trudge through whatever lonely struggles around you, even if you know deep down that any victory that'll take you to the top will leave you very lonely there, possibly bereft of community. But I'm reminded of a similar issue I've got with Rock Marciano, the reason I'm actually nowhere near as high on him as so many others are, where the wordplay is impressively detailed and textured for that slow build, where the image she creates is intensely cool in its meditative swagger, but often left implying rather than adding more dimensionality or a sharper follow-through in her performance or the theme. For as much as Yugen Blakrok can paint a very striking Afrofuturist image out of a borderline apocalyptic setting, so much of it only seems like it's gesturing at conspiracy theories like chemtrails, or politics that feel paradoxically broadly sketched compared to just rapping about her own wordplay and skills. You'd think there would be more depth there, lacking the urgency to add a heavier sense of stakes or foreboding. And when she is so methodical and guarded to cultivate that quasi-psychedelic atmosphere, with even fewer snapshots of her own story or narrative, well, for one, I completely understand the kinship that Kendrick Lamar might have with her at their most Hotep adjacent. Feels weird me saying that, but I mean it more as descriptive than pejorative. But I'm also now looking for the teeth behind this mystique that feels increasingly well-trod and traditionalist, especially if you've got any deeper familiarity with this brand of throwback hip-hop. It is a road that's been trod before. Now this is where we get to the production, where as much as I like this murky atmosphere cultivating that uneasy mindfulness, the biggest critique following on from Anima Mysterium is that it's kind of short on momentum and the songs blend together a bit, and that's just as true here, where I really appreciated Cambatta against the smoldering guitars of Tessellator and Sa-Roc on the Grand Geode just to vary the mood and the sound a little bit. Or when there is a stronger hook like on Fighter Mantra, she could have actually expanded it. The song feels rather short. Now I do appreciate how the mixes are more bass heavy, saturated and grimy, and thus the more organic ghostly woodwinds of Earthlinguist, the curdled industrial groan of Being Here backed up by some really pretty strings, the faster snarled loop of Hidden Pillar, or that thicker bass anchoring Regrettably with this husky hook from Hannah Allen. They are pretty much great on atmosphere alone. I think Yugen Blakrok really sells them, even if the oily grind of the synths on Osiris Awakens and Grand Rising can get a little grating, and Loner feels a little bit too unkempt and ramshackle for its own good. Probably the weakest song here. But overall, look, if you like Yugen Blakrok or a lot of the pseudical, mystical, lyrical miracle side of the underground around the turn of the millennium, say from Def Jux, this feels like a long overdue slice of more of the same. But in a year where there's no shortage of stiff competition in underground hip-hop, I'm hearing more limitations with Yugen Blakrok than ever. The atmosphere and the descriptions are impressive. I like her as a rapper. Now I just want to see the follow-through, the storytelling, a stronger theme. And as much as it'll make for one hell of an illusion, I don't know. I'm just looking forward to more of the being down the road, however long it'll take to get there. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. If you want to see more, please be sure to like, share, drop comments, subscribe. Yeah, I know I'm late with this one. I also am a little bit more lukewarm than I'd like to be. This is one of those cases where I really appreciate what she is trying to do, but I feel like, again, there's a step to really further elevate this, and kind of some lingering reasons as to why Anima Mysterium kind of cooled on me a little bit since 2019. It sets a great atmosphere, but now that you have that atmosphere, I want to hear more stories within it. Tell us a little bit more about yourself, or maybe ground some of those themes a little bit more effectively. Hell, I'd actually argue Anima Mysterium did ground it a little bit better, and some of the politics were a little sharper. This feels even more insulated, and I'm not always sure it's to its benefit. But hey, if you guys got comments on that, leave them down there below. Anything else I might be able to do to improve my presentation, I'm all ears. And if y'all want to get involved in getting projects on my schedule when I reopen it in July, or supporting the channel, or just yelling at me on my Discord, link to my Patreon and YouTube memberships are right over there. Don't feel obligated, tough times, I understand, but the option's available. Till then, I'm Mark, you're watching Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.